too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
25 minutes before 8 o'clock. Nice looking Thursday morning. Let me look at the weather real quickly before we get into our stuff. I thought I saw an alert this morning. Okay, it looks like there's a hazardous weather outlook for today. Now, let me make sure I have this right. It says scattered to occasionally numerous thunderstorms are expected today. Most of the showers and storms will be near and west of I-75 through about 10 a.m. Really? Doesn't even look like it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then spread north to northeast the rest of the day. The primary threats with storms today will be locally heavy rainfall and frequent lightning. Strong gusty winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour may accompany isolated strong storms. That's from the National Weather Service, of course. So there you go. There must be some weather hovering out there somewhere, probably in the Gulf, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Usually that's where it is. Otherwise, there's a 70% chance we'll see rain today. Highs only in the upper 80s today. So I guess that's it. It must be hovering out there somewhere.
Yeah, I think so.
So mostly before 10 a.m.
It sprinkled by my place last night.
It's funny how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're used to it. You remember it every year. This happens every summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just about. There were a few summers it didn't happen.
Yep.
Remember we had the story about how Marco Rubio is the poorest of all the presidential candidates?
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of people who actually, I don't want to say like that, but they, in other words, it hasn't hurt him. It has boosted him. That story has boosted him. In response to the New York Times story that called out Florida Senator Marco Rubio for purchasing an $80,000 boat, Twitter has exploded with people showing images of some of the other candidates, and they actually are. It's actually bolstering him. You know why? Because the average American is not rich, and so he lives in a modest home. And they're showing pictures of his home compared to the Clintons' home, for example.
Oh yeah.
Hillary's house clearly a bigger Hillary and Bill. I shouldn't just say Hillary.
Yeah.
And that's just not me. I'm just telling you, these are the things floating around on Twitter. One Twitter user compared Rubio's boat, which the Times called a luxury speedboat, measuring 24 feet long, to the one belonging to Secretary of State and former Democratic presidential candidate John Kerry, saying, let's see, how do you read these things, all these hashtags? What is swift boating? Well, anyway, so the boat, obviously Kerry has a much larger boat. I mean, I looked at the one that Rubio had, and I was surprised that it was an $80,000 boat. It didn't look that big to me, but what do I know about the price of boats? The Times said Rubio liquidated a retirement account worth $68,000 in order to pay his bills. He sold a second home in Tallahassee, Florida for $18,000 less than what he and a friend paid for it 10 years ago. And all of these things, I guess the Times was trying to make him look bad. Guess what it's doing? It's doing the exact opposite. People are actually embracing him for being one of them.
Yeah, because he's real. He's,
There you go. I don't know.
Trying to pay his bills.
I don't know. Just a
money to pay
guy
bills.
trying to make a living.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are really, really wealthy, which is no surprise. All right, speaking of money, here's the story I wanted to ask your opinion on. Health insurance prices, according to CNBC, and an analysis by Health Pocket, which is a website that compares health plans. Health prices may be jumping dramatically next year because insurers are requesting double-digit rate increases, and analysts are pointing to the Affordable Health Care Act as the reason for that.
Yep.
Well, this is not a surprise.
No.
State governments are likely to grant increases that are less than requested, but those who pay for their own insurance out of pocket should still expect a big bite, especially those with the most popular silver plans.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. President.
So here's my comparison to this, and just bear with me. I know this is very, very minor, but in my own little life, I've played music in bars, which pays, very little, but you can still make a living at it. And then I played music in colleges, which paid unbelievably large amounts. I'll give you an example. At the same time, now this is in the late 70s, early 80s, I was playing bars for sometimes $35 or $40 a night. I could easily play a college for $350 a night. And not only that, but the bar was usually a 4-hour gig. The college was usually a 1-hour gig.
Yeah.
So for 1 hour, now I would have to drive sometimes as far as Connecticut, but they would pay for travel too, by the way. So it's not like all the money went into that. There were expenses associated with it that you didn't have with bars. But the point I'm trying to make is that the schools typically are funded, at least in part, by taxpayer money. And even if they're not, the fact that they can pay it means guys like us will ask for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was in the same boat, so to speak, as the insurance companies. In other words, oh, there's more money out there. Well, then I'll just ask for it. That's how that works. And so, getting back to the story at hand, the insurance companies say, oh, there's more money out there now. Right? So
Right.
let's get our piece of it.
Right. Exactly.
That's my the poor man's version of this story. Average plans in major cities could rise as much as 12%,
Jeez.
according to an analysis by Health Pocket. Those silver plans could rise by as much as 14%,
That's insane.
according to Health Pocket.
That's insane.
Somebody who was not able to pay for health insurance at all because the price was so out of reach for the average person in some cases. So let's just use the figure. I'm remembering these figures from a story a long time ago, but these figures probably still play a role. Anywhere between $300 and $500 a month was the health insurance for some of the folks we talked about. Remember?
Yes.
Okay. And then when Obamacare was being talked about at first, we were having guests on who were both for it and against it. And the one question I would always ask was, what will it cost?
Yeah.
And you remember, nobody could answer that question.
Exactly.
Nobody could answer the question. So that after it was passed, then here was the story we heard. The story we heard was that the $300 to $500 a month figure was now brought down to, I think it was $80 a month?
Yes.
$80 a month for that same insurance. Okay. So suddenly people who said, I can't afford between $300 and $500, but hey, I can afford 80. So suddenly it looks like a good deal. And everybody's saying, okay, I get it. The president maybe had a good point here. Maybe it needs some tweaking. But okay, so there are people with health insurance now who couldn't afford it before. They're paying $80 instead of $300 to $500 a month. And while they weren't paying that $80 a month before, so they have to make sure they budget for that now. At least they have it. They can pull their own weight. They feel good about themselves. And if they need the medical care, they've got it. And the number, it's a numbers game, so that the more people who pay into it, the more money there is in the pool. And the numbers game says more people will pay into it than will actually use it. So it works out in the best interests of everybody. That's the whole idea, right? It's pooling. It's a pooling your money idea. Okay, well, when there's money in the pool, then sharks want to get some of that money. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And in fact, even before this story came out, we had a story. It's probably been 6 months or so ago. We had a story about the prices, that $80 figure going up to $150.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
I do.
So now all of a sudden, these people who couldn't afford 3 to 5, who said, okay, I can afford 80, but now it was 90% more than it was the first time around.
Yep.
Here's the head of research and data at Health Pocket is Kev Coleman. He says people insured by health maintenance organizations, HMOs, and exclusive provider organizations, or EPOs, could face 18 to 20% hikes. And he said since HMOs and EPOs are designed to hold costs down, it's really confusing as to why they're going up.
Yeah.
He says, given the rate of general inflation in the country and the economic situation, the rate increases were surprising. He was talking to one of the guests, one of the hosts on CNBC TV. He said that 2016 will be the first year people are seeing true Affordable Care Act rates since the first 2 years were artificially low. Mm-hmm. We'll continue after the break. I got to take a little break. We'll be right back. This is WOCA.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, clouds and some intervals of sunshine with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around into the evening hours. Today's high 86 to 90, and partly cloudy later tonight, low 70 to 74. Tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun, high 88 at the coast, 93 inland. Saturday, partly sunny. There may be a thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon, the high 88 at the coast, 94 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Loco Graphics would like to invite you to their second location on 200 next to Sonny's Barbecue. They are officially open to help you out with all your sign, vehicle wraps, and printing needs. Visit them and mention this ad for free business cards. Need a logo? We've got you covered. From business cards all the way to menus and flyers. Now 2 locations to better serve you. On Merricamp, half a mile east from Forest High School, and on 200 by Sonny's Barbecue. Loco Graphics, impacting your customers. Like us on Facebook.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services, when your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements. From damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
Putting the local back into radio. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. WOCA News. Variety. Information. Now. Keep your arms and legs on the inside at all times.
If you want to avoid getting ripped off and put more money in your pocket, then join me, Clark Howard, every weeknight at 6, right here on WOCA, The Source.
We are The Source, WOCA.
All right, 12 minutes now before 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking Thursday morning. Hope you're doing well. Veterans News later on today. Don't forget. Always good to have Hank and his guys in here. Mm-hmm. All right, so we were talking about the Affordable Health Care Act, and I was looking at... there's a calculator online, but you have to answer all kinds of questions. I was trying to figure out, an average person, 40 years old or whatever, how much you would have to pay. He and she, if a couple was married, and it was taking too long to do that. Anyway, Forbes.com is advising that there is a way to improve your own circumstances because there are competitors. So I guess that's the good news, but how much difference is it going to make? This I don't know. The article says, shop around. Payers will probably put the best value in products designed to attract new customers. So in other words, the free marketplace is going to play a role in some of this. Isn't this interesting? How it's kind of like there's a whole pool of money out there now, I guess, and the insurance companies are wanting some of it, and I guess to get some of it, we the consumer have to sort of dictate which ones we want, and you're going to go for the cheapest.
Right, but you go for the cheapest because that's what you can afford. You're forced to get the cheapest.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then you can, and then you might find out that you might have a minimum of $6,000 or $7,000 deductible before your insurance will kick in. So that's what's not right about this.
Let's see. People ineligible for subsidies will be the hardest hit since they have to pay 100% of their health care premiums, which of course. About 8.7 million people receive subsidies of an average of $272 a month. But those who live in states that use the federal exchange could see an even tougher hit if the Supreme Court strikes down subsidies on the federal exchange in its soon-to-be released decision of King versus Burwell.
And that's the story you had the other day about the federal exchanges as opposed to the state exchanges. So there's a
all right, so they did the math for me. I didn't realize that. Silver plans are the most popular and likely to see the greatest increases, according to Health Pocket's analysis. A silver plan for a 40-year-old, that's what I was figuring, 40-year-old non-smoker, would be $389.49 per month next year. Right now, it's $341 a month. So that's an increase in $41. And the person who was getting the $80 a month payment would have to pay then, what, $120?
Yes, that's a lot.
For the same person, the bronze plan would rise 9% from $292 per month to $319 per month, and the gold plan would go up 16% from $397 to $459. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
$397 to $459. And again, if you figure out the $272 average of subsidies, that person would then pay, Robin, real quickly, $272 from $459. So that becomes almost what they were told they would be saving. So
$187.
So and you know, as far as the competitive part and the insurance companies trying to lower their prices or give you something extra or whatever they do to compete with one another, I'll never forget the same insurance company I went to when we moved here to the mall to pay my car insurance. My car insurance was way too high.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else, you and your husband, way less than me. And I'm thinking, how come I'm paying so much in car insurance? And so I went down to the lady who I bought it from originally, and she basically talked around in circles and basically said there was no way. So then I had enough of it, and I went not too far from where we are now. And I said, look, if you can't lower this, I'm going to find another insurer because I found one online that'll do it a lot cheaper. Oh, no problem, Mr. Wheeler. And they lowered it. I mean, they lowered it a lot.
Yeah.
They lowered it a lot. And then I get a call from the lady. Why didn't you call and tell me? I would have worked with you. So apparently I took a commission away from her. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I went to her. I said they need to lower it. So that's just another piece of the whole story. It's got nothing to do with Obamacare, but it has to do with the competitive market. And if somebody's telling you that they're going to go somewhere else, you better listen to them.
Yeah.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. One of the other things that plays into the cost of insurance in general is that insurance companies have to invest in rather conservative things for their accumulation fund because, it has to be available to be paid out on a claim. And what with the rates on the interest rates for invested money being as low as they are, it forces the premiums to rise. Whereas if the interest rates trend up again, you will find that premiums will go down because the accumulation fund will be able to accumulate more money at interest, and it won't have to come out of the taxpayers' back. I mean, the ratepayers' back. So low interest rates are not always a good thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's absolutely true. All right, thank you, Jim. By the way, we'll see you later on. See Jim's coming in later on to talk
10 o'clock,
about radio. But okay, so the Supreme Court, if in the King versus Burwell case, if they strike down the subsidies, then that $272 a month that is being subsidized to the poor, right, will no longer be there. Am I understanding that right?
Yep.
If they strike out the subsidies, rates could go up even more, of course, since many who now receive them would likely stop buying health insurance altogether. Well, of course.
Well, sure.
Of course. You
That is it's so stupid.
How's it and then the other day when we had this story about how some hospitals were charging 1,000 times more than another hospital. Remember we had that story?
Yes.
$10 for one minor procedure in one hospital and $10,000 in another.
Yeah.
Am I right? Was I saying that right?
Right.
or is it $100? But anyway, it was so unbelievably different. Those who forego insurance are likely to be the youngest and most healthy, leaving them unavailable to help fund those who are older and sicker, which was the whole idea. The whole idea was to, in trying to understand how the Affordable Health Care Act would work, the only thing that made sense to me was that we're pooling our money. There's this Christian organization that does this too, by the way. Remember, there's an ad on the radio here. But anyway, so you pool your money, and the odds are it's like auto insurance. It's more people don't get in wrecks than do. More people don't get sick than do. So the younger the demographic in the contribution pool of health insurance, the larger the pool, right?
Yes.
But what nobody took into account was greed. Nobody took into account people getting dollar signs in their eyes and saying, whoa, look at this pool of money that's there. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what happens in the college market that I was referring to earlier. The only thing I'm really familiar with in which I ever participated in something that dipped into the taxpayer's pocket. Mm-hmm. It's what they do. I mean, you basically have a large pool of money, and people will say, okay, well, then I should get paid a lot. Mm-hmm. It explains why you have some major name entertainers who show up at the Citizen Circle or Gator Growl or anything like that, because there's a large amount of money and you can pay for it.
Yep.
Now, if it pays for itself, then it's all well and good. If you're charging ticket prices and it all works out in the end, and that's what some schools. In fact, that's a learning. It's a lesson thing that they do, where the students have to get together and figure out how to make money. But how are you going to do that with this? It doesn't even apply to this.
Yeah, it does not.
This is simply a pool of money that you are mandated to participate in.
Right.
Right. And if the Supreme Court strikes down the subsidies, then the average working person who simply says, gosh, I couldn't afford it before. I love this Affordable Care Act thing. My family is now insured. I feel a little bit more comfortable. Yes, I have to budget in $120 a month now. It was $80 last month.
Yeah.
Last year.
Right, exactly.
Now it's $120. So, okay, I have to budget $120 extra a month. It's not always easy for some people. Mm-mm. But I can do it for now. But if you can't do it, what if you can't? What if they raise it so much that it becomes, what was I saying, $341? Hello?
Yeah, that's a regular without the Affordable Care Act.
You might as well have not had anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you're going to mandate that people pay $341 a month?
Right.
Now what are you going to do?
Exactly.
What are you going to put everybody in jail?
Exactly. It's all mandated. Thank you.
So if the mandate was, if it was a double mandate, I guess, if you're going to mandate that everybody pays into something when you know that darn well that some of them can't afford it,
yeah,
then you should have also mandated that the insurance companies say, look, you do not raise your rates.
Yeah.
If you're going to take control, then take control. Don't take control of the people, but not of the sharks that might decide to take advantage of the people.
Yeah, well, that's their ultimate goal, taking control of the people.
Because they don't even care about the people. I mean, it's all about that big boat.
Right.
It's all about that big house.
Exactly.
It's all about that amazing vacation. It's all about spending $10 million so you can go up into space with Elon Musk's spacecraft.
Yeah.
I was in space. I paid $10 million. Well, did you see that lady in the news?
Which one?
There was some lady. $10 million she's paying to go up in one of those spaceships.
Gee.
So... Anyway, so those are the, I guess that was the talking point of the morning. Just thought I would bring it up.
Good point. Excellent point.
And
a wonderful
point. And if you want to see it for yourself, I guess I got that from CNBC.com and HealthPocket.com. Those are the two places that the information came from.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really good. The elected officials should pay attention to it.
And P.S., the other side of this coin is that in states like Florida, where there's a lot of resistance... I mean, they haven't even figured out what to do up in Tallahassee.
No.
And
they're just spinning their wheels.
So, all right. So we'll move forward and we'll be back. Galen Unold is up next. I have a fun topic with Galen. I have Urban Dictionary slang. These are the words that Taco Bell employees are trying to learn to master, so that when the kids come in to order tacos, they know what they're talking about. Whatever. All right, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA.